When?
Good afternoon, Zeke. You are 1 year old today. This is July 11th, 2017. We are completing this program to tell you about me. I left off on Mangum Street, and that's where I grew up. My parents lived for their whole life. That's in Baldwin Park, California. And I met Pat Sprague, who became my first wife, and she lived directly across the street from me. And the reason I got to know her at first was because her family had a pool. And that was a big deal. The only one on the block that had a pool. So got to go swimming a lot. And sometime after that, me and Pat got married and had 2 children. One, Tony Anthony William Stephen, was born in LA, White Memorial, and later Jeffrey Scott Stephen, sounds like your dad, huh? Was born in Tucson, Arizona. Let's see. Some stories about my father. My father, like I said, was born in '02, and he grew up during the start of the First World War, and he enlisted in the Army just before the end of World War I. And I remember seeing him as a picture of him in his uniform. That was a good catch there, Ma.
Wind got it.
In his uniform from the Army. And then sometime after that, in the 20s, he went into the Navy, my father did, and went on submarines. And this is in 1920 when submarines were a little iffy. And he went and did a tour, 3-month tour, on river patrol in China. There's a film, you should rent this by Netflix, you can do it, or some other means, called Sand Pebbles. And it'll show you the exact kind of ship my father was on. What? I can't hear you.
You're talking to a little kid. You used a dirty word. Shit.
Oh,
Don't use that word.
that's what you do when you go to the bathroom.
Go ahead.
Anyway, and my father was only in the Navy a short period of time, like I was a short period of time. I asked my father what kind of stuff he did when he was young, and since he was born such a long time ago, he said one of his uncles, I think, went down to Mexico to bring cattle back to Omaha, so he went on a cattle drive when he was a little kid. I asked him, man, how was that? Was that really neat or what? He goes, no, it just smelled bad and it was really dusty. So, you know, seeing it on TV and living it in person's two different things. I went on I've been on several great vacations with my parents. One was to Yosemite. And we stayed in a cabin and got to see lots of great stuff which Yosemite has. You should get your father to take you there sometime. It's really, really worth it. It's so beautiful. And when I was, I don't know, 11, 12, we went to South Dakota, Clark, South Dakota, to stay on a farm, a real farm, for about 3 weeks. And it was very hot. Then the town had a great big pool, I remember that. And it was a real farm. I mean, but no air conditioning and one TV station.
What did they raise?
What do they raise? Corn and stuff like that.
Animals? No.
No, they had cows they milked and pigs, but I mean they weren't really raised. That wasn't a product. The product was corn and whatever. I wasn't into those kind of things then. It was just playing and stuff. And they had 2 kids, a girl who was about my age and a younger boy who was younger than me. Anyway, I stayed there for a while. Got to experience farm life, which was kind of nice, but also really hot. Because like I said, they didn't have air conditioning. Really hot. Anyway, my time in the Navy, I'm just rambling here, just to kill a little time. My time in the Navy was spent mostly just visiting, working on the ship, and visiting different countries, but mostly visiting different bars.
Tell them where in the ship you worked and what you did.
Oh, I was an engineman, which meant I worked on engines, and that was a diesel motor ship, and so I was a diesel motor mechanic. I could work on diesel motors. Very hot, very smelly, very oily, very grubby. And I was on that ship for 3 years. And like I said, I went to a lot of different countries.
Did your ship ever get hit?
No, but we did have one Westpac, that's what it's called, where you go a tour, where when we left Hawaii, every place we stopped, we ran into something. Something. Usually it was like a pier, but could be a ship. It was a ship a couple times. And I mean, we didn't make holes in the ship, but we did do damage to stuff. And we came back to Pearl Harbor after hitting everything on all our trips. And so the captain wanted to make sure we could stop like we're supposed to. So we had test stops a couple times in the harbor leading up to our parking space on the pier. And our parking space at the pier, on the pier, was like the #1 parking space, right next to where they parked the cars, and the Admiral parks his yacht. And then, guess what? We didn't stop. We almost hit a car. We destroyed the... Good thing the Admiral's yacht wasn't there. We'd been in really serious trouble. But anyway, that ship... I got lots of stories about the Noel. But, let's see. When your dad was born, I was living in San Diego. And I remember seeing him as a baby. And then sometime thereafter in 1998, I moved to Indiana with my dog Cactus, Dalmatian. And then I met my second wife, Donna, and she's still not going to show you any of herself because she's not prepared.
But she is the best wife ever.
She is the best wife ever.
Finally got it right.
Don't shoot me! True enough. Anyway, and then so I've been married since 1999.
And in Indiana, you were
Indiana, where I learned
owner,
that
operator,
snow comes and makes everything you see around here
gone.
is all green. Well, then it's all white.
Before that, it's all brown and gone.
And the leaves fall, and it's a real change, and it's very, very different from California.
But then in spring,
It all comes back.
it all comes back and it's beautiful. Summer is beautiful, green everywhere.
And your dad can tell you a little bit about Indiana. He hung out here for a short period of time, and you can ask him about what it's like to ride in a big truck and trailer, because that's what I used to do. I was a truck driver, and he went with me once, so he can tell you a little bit about that. We lived at that time on a lake in a nice house, but then the economy crashed and we moved here.
And your dad was there, Jeffy, came and visited.
Yes,
and
yes,
was there
yes.
for a
In
summer.
Albion, yes.
Couple summers.
And he would jump in the lake and
He liked to go
fishing with his dad.
He was a good,
And
he was a good fisherman.
yeah, liked it a lot. I'm sure your dad will show you he is a good fisherman.
He played with our 4 dogs. We need to start wrapping this
No,
up. We're going to go overtime.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go overtime, and we did have I've always had lots of dogs, and Newton, come here, Newton, come here. Come here. Maybe you can see Newton.
I'm going to move
Newton
it.
is my #1 boy now. There he is. There he is. He's my #1 guy now. It's great how much love dogs give you. Okay, Zeke. Happy birthday, #1. Today's your birthday, and I wish you a happy, happy, happy birthday for many, many, many more.
And we want to have this so you can listen to it when you're older and know some of your family history.
When you're like really old, you can watch this and go, oh my gosh. Love you, Zeke.
Love you, Jeffrey. And love you, Isabel.
Love you, Isabel.
Okay.
And love Tony and Jeff. That's it.